New Delhi's Commonwealth Games is staggering towards the starting line next weekend. The best that can be said is that it's still going ahead, something that looked in serious doubt late last week when a number of countries threatened to pull out because of the atrocious conditions they discovered in unfinished facilities. The Indian government has stepped in to mobilise an army of workers to try to bring the athletes' village and the venues up to scratch. Even at this late stage, with athletes now arriving, the work goes on. Some in India had hoped a successful Commonwealth Games could lay the foundations for a tilt at the Olympics. That's far from the mind now, as all efforts are directed to salvaging a blighted event. Paul Lockyer reports from New Delhi.
The monuments of the British Raj provide a majestic backdrop for a gathering of the offspring of the empire. But hopes that the countries of the Commonwealth would be part of a big moment in the history of modern India have gone badly awry.
Well, we wanted international exposure, we've got it. Whether we like it or not, we've got it.
Why on earth should I link my national pride to a circus? And then you manage the circus so atrociously.
The crisis for Games organisers started long ago, but has been dramatically highlighted by the collapse of a footbridge near the main stadium, the dengue fever scare, and the images of the appalling state of the athletes' village. The president of the Commonwealth Games Federation, Michael Fennell, has been frustrated for months by lack of progress by Games organisers in New Delhi.
And we pointed out all along the way what needed to be done. So this is not something that was just discovered now.
This is the man who's feeling the heat. Suresh Kalmadi runs the Delhi Organising Committee. But every admission of responsibility for the problems comes with a qualification.
Yeah, I will take all the blame. There's no issue about it. But I wish the venues were handed over to me earlier. I could have done a lot of work on that.
When Bollywood became part of the closing ceremony of the Commonwealth Games in Melbourne 4 years ago, India promised much as the next host nation. Mr. Kalmadi was centre stage.
Delhi too shall deliver a fantastic game in 2010.
But there was someone missing from the Indian delegation, the sports minister. He boycotted the event because of the cost of the closing ceremony performance, complaining that it was 10 times more than was spent on sending the Indian team to Melbourne.
Namaste. To register my personal protest at this vulgarity of spending, it's a disgrace.
Manish Shankar Iyer is no longer the sports minister, but as a government MP, he has continued to argue that the money going to the Commonwealth Games should be going to India's poor.
In a situation of such grave inequality, to so pervert your priorities that you say absolutely no limits on spending for the Commonwealth Games because you've got to project a great image of India in the 21st century to befool the world outside.
Allegations of corruption swirl around Suresh Kalmadi's organising committee, now left shamed by the shortcomings in Games preparations.
How can an India which prepares a Games village where stray dogs are sleeping on the beds, where the toilets are so filthy that the scavengers of the Municipal Corporation of Delhi have refused to clean them. How can we claim that we are either an economic superpower or that we are even capable of making the pretense of being an economic superpower?
The Games have only just been saved, but national pride has taken a huge battering.
There's a sense of betrayal in your country about what has happened with this event. How do you feel in your heart about this and where it now sits?
Some issues in the Games village, but if you see all the infrastructure here in as good as Melbourne or anywhere else.
But the delay in completing the venues has impacted on Games security. Some facilities weren't finished in time for test events, and late work has made it difficult to carry out lockdown procedures. Instead, a huge security force is being assembled.
What could not have been done through preparation, through proper systems, is being done in a very heavy-handed manner now, with saturation of force and extremely obstructive methods.
AJ Sani is a leading security analyst. He believes the biggest threat to the Games comes from Islamist groups from across the border in Pakistan.
For them, this represents a kind of an opportunity for any incident that would have global visibility. So this is a tempting target.
New Delhi will be placed under the tightest security ever seen. Already hundreds of thousands of people without New Delhi papers have been rounded up and forced out of the city, and many slums have been bulldozed. Social support groups complain that the Commonwealth Games is simply being used to clean up the city and get rid of the poorest of the poor.
They seem to be deliberately creating a polarized society of the haves and the have-nots. And the have-nots are being condemned to the dustbin of history.
Environmentalist Dr. Doona Roy originally supported the Commonwealth Games. Now he's an outspoken opponent.
Because people like us who have been protesting against these games are being called anti-national. And I think the tables are turning, because these people who've taken this country for a ride, actually they're the ones who should be accused of treason.
The Commonwealth Games was meant to be a marketing dream, India's time to shine. But that dream has become a nightmare for this country, and the question now is, what, if any, pride can be salvaged from the tarnished event?
There is nothing common about the wealth, and it's taking place in probably the poorest country of the Commonwealth. It should be called the Common Poor Games.
Paul Lockyer reporting from New Delhi.